It is a beautiful start. I'm coming in a couple of minutes early with you. But hey, got to do what we got to do. Good morning to you. I'm Wesh 2 First Warning Meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk on a Sunday morning. It is 7:41 and it is absolutely beautiful outside. A live look from our Tower Cam network taking us over to New Smyrna Beach where the sun is shining. There's some clouds, even some rain off in the distance, but it is so pretty there. Let's head up to Daytona Beach and see what's doing for you. Another gorgeous morning here just up the shoreline. Of course, it's a little bit of a different shot. Let's head down to Port Canaveral, see what's doing. Figure why not start our morning with the sea spray, or at least the smell. Oh yeah, look at that. That's now, is that Utopia already back in? I guess that makes sense. It went out Friday and it's back Sunday, or is it Monday? I can't remember, y'all. No, I think that's not going to be Utopia. Either way, the sun's shimmering over one of the cruise ships. It's a gorgeous morning. Let me take you over to our West 2 Studios Tower Cam, see what's doing there, and then we'll go to downtown Orlando and see what, yeah, there's downtown in the distance. And last but not least, we can do down. Look at how pretty that is. That's a beautiful morning. Yeah. First warning live radar showing a few showers here off the shoreline that have from time to time been sneaking on in. It's not a ton of rainfall, but we do have a couple of showers that at least we've been watching and we'll have to watch here or there. Temperatures out the door. Upper 60s in Palm Coast. It's 69 in Ocala. Sitting at 71 in Leesburg, 73 degrees in Orlando and Claremont. Here's our forecast, my friends. Looks like a beautiful day in the neighborhood, right? 85 degrees our 11 o'clock reading. It's 88 degrees 1 p.m. and 90 this afternoon. And like yesterday, it's going to be another mostly dry day, another absolutely beautiful day. So let's dial up Futurecast and get an idea on when the rains impact you, right? Here's this morning. Gorgeous, right? Couple of coastal sprinkles trying to show up. Moving inland 2, 3 o'clock. You don't see much, right? Like, let me re-rack that. There's not much to see here. A few spotty showers kind of trying to sneak on in. Otherwise, we are looking very, very nice. So today, indeed, another 20% opportunity to see some rainfall. That's what we've got. In terms of the temperatures neighborhood by neighborhood, there you go. We'll make it to 90 degrees in Orlando, 88 degrees for us today in DeLand, 90 in Ocala. Back over to the beaches, mid to upper 80s. That's going to be a nice, feel-good kind of day. And I hope if you're heading out to the beach, you find a way to get out and enjoy. High risk of rip currents, though, if you are heading out to the beach. So just keep that in mind, right? Today, temperatures climbing, excuse me, into the mid-range of the 80s. So that's kind of where we're at across the area. Now, that rip current risk is high through Tuesday. So most of us, of course, have to go back to work and back to school, right? But look at where we're at. This is the kind of positioning of Gabrielle in respect to wave generation. Obviously, we see those yellow shades right at the center of the circulation. So the system itself is generating massive waves, just like any tropical, even weak tropical systems generate very large wave action. But that obviously comes as it spreads, and it will spread, and it will spread, and it will spread. So, even though, yes, it's generating very, very large waves. Watch, there's Monday, Tuesday, 4 to 6 foot waves are kind of arriving our area by Tuesday. And then afterward, Tuesday into Wednesday, our wave action starts to quiet down and we start to kind of get back to normal just a little bit. Okay. So the next couple of days, big wave action at our beaches. And it's all because of Tropical Storm Gabrielle, which frankly has still been battling some dry air, but it does look significantly better than it has, when it was beginning and dealing with dry air. Yesterday it looked way better. Today it's kind of bringing a little bit of dry air in, but it's there. So winds are at 65. So Gabrielle is on the verge of becoming a hurricane. Of course, 74 miles per hour. That's the line that you have to cross to be able to get to hurricane status. Here's the forecast from the National Hurricane Center. Again, expected to make a very hard right turn, kind of pivot around. We think now becoming a hurricane today, then afterward lifting past Bermuda, Monday, Tuesday, look at those winds, 100 miles per hour on Tuesday, and then making that hard right turn again, moving away from the United States, Spain, Portugal, the Azores, but not us. And that's, hey, that's about as good a news as you could ask for when it comes to tropical stuff. So that's kind of where we're at. Debbie Mandarino says it's a recurve. It is indeed looking like it's a recurve. So there's that. Models in very tight agreement with this thing. And that is all we could ask for, frankly. Yeah, look at those models. Now, exactly where, once it gets out toward the Azores, it goes, there's some feathering there, but all in, it's looking great. So let's enjoy that. Let's enjoy that trend, but let's be cognizant of the fact that there is that high risk of rip currents. Okay. Meanwhile, that said, as far as advisories go, it's been behaving. It's been staying far enough away. No advisories are issued. Looks like there's a recon mission in there, so Cam's kind of putting that together. So we'll let her put that together. Elsewhere in the tropics, there is one thing that we're watching, and we have been watching, has a low-end chance of developing. I haven't seen if the tropical weather outlook has come out this morning, but let's see. I'll give it a second. It does not look like it has come out. Yeah, that's Gabrielle. Okay. So we have not gotten it out. All right. So the tropical weather outlook has not come out yet, but this is the other area that we're watching. It's off the coast of Africa. It has a 30% chance of developing, and long range models keep it kind of very near Gabrielle. So that's the good news. Here's a look at it on the satellite presentation. It doesn't look like much, like at all. Look at that. Like at all. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at. Now, what would be coming after all of this? Let's look at the models together here. Of course, I have to log in, because why wouldn't you be easy? All right. At least I don't have to type my password. All right. So raw GFS model data, what we're looking at is normalized anomalous pressure. So the idea here is try to make it just a little bit easier to see. So there's Gabrielle recurving, staying out to sea. We can go to the full basin view here. There's Gabrielle doing its thing. The next thing over near the Turks, Caicos, right? Developing, perhaps. Getting close-ish to the Outer Banks, so my friends there in the Carolinas may have something to watch. Terry says some hyper posted a huge storm for the Gulf into Florida. Yikes. All right, so we're gonna watch. We're gonna go through the models, okay? And I am live at 7:49. I'm early, I know, but I'm gonna take you through the journey. And real quick, the Hurricane Center just put out their tropical weather outlook. Remember how it was 0% in 2 days' time, 30% in 7 days' time? It's now 0% in 2 days' time, 40% in 7 days' time. So this area here that we're watching, that the model kind of shows east of us, but recurving close to the coastline, that now has a medium chance of development. So that's breaking news, coffee talk style. All right. Does that get too close for comfort? All right, it looks like it's getting awful close. I'm just trying to find a view I like here. This is all. I'm looking at the different views here. Okay, that's the northeast. All right, so it gets awful close there. I'll bring it full screen. It gets awful close there to the Outer Banks and stays pretty close to New England, stays pretty close to Nova Scotia. So, yeah. So this next wave is one to watch. Now, it's, I don't want to say it's funny, because it's not. But there's going to be the hypers that are like, the next signal for a hurricane hit. All right, well, this version of the GFS does bring it pretty close. Let's bring it back a run, and it's further out. See, I feel like what the hypers do is they look at the trend and then they're like, new signals for threats to the United States. or this run is just a little closer, okay? It's all in how you word things. New signal for threats. So this next one, though, that's forming, we'll have to watch. The model keeps it offshore, but, it's too early to tell what ends up happening there, right? So there it is out in the Atlantic Basin. Another one in the Caribbean, you see south of Puerto Rico. Let's go back that direction. You see that right there? Going through Puerto Rico. It looks pretty weak, though. And then developing as it recurves out to sea. So the GFS, at least the operational GFS, is going pretty active, right? That's the end of the GFS. Okay. Doesn't look like there's any like Florida hits, but the operational GFS is at least showing some stuff. All right. Let's re-rack this. Let's go back to the European. There's Gabrielle. There's the next wave. I'm just going to keep it on the wide view, and we'll go in and interrogate when we see stuff. Decent threat of some storms across the nation's midsection there. That's Thursday, September 25th. Timestamps in the top right corner of your screen. Looks like something trying to develop north of the St. Thomas and St. Croix, the Virgin Islands there. That next one on the Euro recurves almost identically to Gabrielle, which would be outside of the island of Bermuda there. And you see the difference, right? Like, this is the European. This is the GFS, which would have already had it along the shoreline of the United States. So there's no consistency. So if you hear a hyper saying something like new signal for United States threat, understand that's one run of one model. Okay. All right. Let's go back to the European. All right. Looks like a little homegrown deal closer to us here, like October 4th. And that's as far out as that goes. So the GFS is doing GFS things. The GFS is definitely more active. The Euro not as active. Let's look at the Euro AI, deterministic. Gabrielle recurves. There's that next one. Developing near Puerto Rico. The Euro AI takes it very close to Bermuda, but further offshore than the GFS. Keeps some low pressure around South Florida and the Bahamas. And then starts bubbling up some low pressure around South Florida and the Straits. But nothing organized. Okay. All right. Let's zoom it in a little bit. Let's look at some of the ensembles. There's Gabrielle. There's something else east of us. Then the ensembles, again, very end of September, early October. The ensembles are showing something perhaps around the southern United States from the Gulf into the Atlantic. No home runs there. But look at that. I mean, there's a pretty significant signature here for lows trying to form those first couple of days of October. Whether or not the deterministic model is showing it or not, there's definitely signals there. That's the GFS ensemble. Let's look at the European ensemble. There's Gabrielle on the right. There's the next wave. Oh, wait. That was Gabrielle. There's the next deal. But notice, like, into October, there's a lot of ensemble members showing something from the Gulf to the Atlantic. They don't know where yet, but the fact that we see a bunch of hornets just kind of lets you know that that first week of October, maybe something to really have to watch. All right, Euro AI ensembles. If I could hit the button. It's running the 60, just starting, so we have to go to the 00Z. All right, there's the next thing. East of us, it looks like, for the most part. But then it starts to develop other stuff in October. So that next wave stays east of us, but then from the Caribbean to the Gulf, the Euro AI wants to develop something. So, yeah, I think that the bottom line here, Matt says, as the BSR foretold. Yeah, I mean, I think the bottom line here is that very, very end of September, let's be really watching the models. And then that first week of October, we may have something to really watch. Tom says still too many days away. Absolutely. But we're going to look at the model data here, and we're going to do so with no hype. Well, we're not going to hype the tropics. There is one thing I am going to hype, and I always will, which is fall. It's my absolute favorite season. We are a day away. It starts tomorrow. So I will hype about that. But yes, point absolutely also being, though, that we are looking at tropical activity on the ensembles. So yes, it's still too early to really determine like what could actually happen here. So we'll wait and see how it is. Terry, Euro AI is listen, computer models are guidance, not gospel. Remember that. Remember, computer models are math equations, they're tools. And we're going to use those tools. Okay, that's all. Hype cold fronts in the UCF Knights. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. I will do that. If you haven't seen the Belichick presser from yesterday, it's great. Anyway, all right. So that's kind of where we're at. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? History would show activity now, but nothing imminent. Right. Well, history would show we should be tracking things this time of year. That's exactly what we're doing. I'm good with no threats. Looking at the 7-day forecast, it's not bad, right? We're looking at temperatures. I mean, I say it's not bad. If you like the cooler weather that we had, I am ready for some fall. We're not exactly there. But there's no tropical threats. So let's take that for what it is. High temperatures in the lower 90s. It's going to be hot. Storm chances are trying to raise just a little bit. It's going to get stormy at times. Yeah. Amy says, I worry about week 1 and 2 of October as my family is flying in and flying out. Look, you shouldn't worry about it. This is just the way it is in Florida, right? Most often it's not threats. I mean, we get hit sometimes, but most often these things don't materialize into anything too bad. So remember that. Okay. Are we looking at an extra cold and wet winter? Lori's asking. I'm sitting in a supercharger right now in a Target parking lot, so I don't have all the tools in front of me. But La Nina would lead us to be drier. We'll see what ends up happening with that. All right. Do you see any cold fronts in our future? We were using the BSR. Because I'm broadcasting, because anytime I'm in my car, I actually broadcast Coffee Talk out of Wesh, and I basically remote my camera into that computer. So I don't have my full array to be able to show you. So I don't have the BSR set up on this. Now that said, Coffee Talk's going to look a little different on Friday morning. So I'm going to have to rebuild the entire Coffee Talk thingy, the entire Coffee Talk scene library, which means that, yeah, I'll probably have to put the BSR on the computer at Wesh. That way I can use the BSR when I'm doing it this way. For those of you, for 98% of you, you have no idea what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to stop, but yeah. Frank's asking, when was the last time Florida did not have a hurricane? You mean hit? It happens all the time. We've gotten hit a lot recently, but many years recently. Florida has not gotten a hurricane. Yeah. Linda, why so early? Doing things with the kiddos today, so just trying. And as a matter of fact, I don't know that we're going to have a coffee talk tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm taking my long instrument cross country. So, I am flying early, going to Key West Bartow, and Orlando. Yeah, flying down to Key West, doing 3 instrument approaches, 3 different types of instrument approaches at 3 different airports, and having breakfast in Key West. So I don't know that we're going to have coffee talk. I may just post like a quick reel or something like that. Yeah, I hope that's okay. I hope you all understand. But yeah, so there's that. So tomorrow I may post some pictures looking at Key West or looking down at the Keys. Betty says, sounds like a wonderful day. Oh, it's going to be so fun. The chat, will it be all together? I sure hated that. Will that be a part of your fix? I turned it off. If you hated it, it should have been turned. I turned it off. Yeah. Mike says, do coffee talk while flying. I will be on an instrument flight plan, so I have to fly the straightest I have ever flown, right? Like you have to be very, very, very precise when you do that. Terry says, so no tracking tropics. Tomorrow's Monday. We don't do tracking the tropics on Mondays. We do that on Tuesdays. Patricia says, you definitely deserve a day off. Thank you. I appreciate that. Matt, need a photographer. Hey, man, there are 2 seats in the back empty. I want to talk about your fix, please. What about my fix? What do you want to talk about? Jessica says, love Key West, was just there in June. Yeah, Key West Drive and Coffee Talk. Please send Key's picture. So pretty there. You're talented. You can multitask. Hey, you're giving me way too much credit here. You're giving me way too much credit. I haven't been down to Key West in years. What's funny is I don't have to go as far as I'm going. Like that instrument cross country does not need to be all the way to Key West. But that's what I want to do. So here we are. How are you changing it? You'll see. Look, here's what I'm going to be changing. Coffee Talk as it is, as it feels, will be completely the same. I'm just going to be doing some things in the background. You will probably hardly notice. Steph says that was Star of the Seas. It looked like an Oasis class. Graphics or what do you it's I'm just making some new graphics for Coffee Talk, okay? Bride says trust those gauges. You know it, man. You know it. You should fly to Key West more often. Well, that's why I'm working on my instrument rating so that I can fly no matter what the weather. Asterisk. Yeah. Oh, never pass up lunch in Key West. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, my friends, on a Sunday morning? We looking good? Yeah. I'm excited. So I'm excited. I had to buy some flotation devices because we're going to be outside of glide range. So there's that. Let's see here. Graphics have to come. What? The new brand. The other change is more cold fronts for the next 6 months. Yeah. Mike says, great game by UCF and Miami yesterday. Absolutely. Amy's asking about the Coastal 7-day. Give me a second. I don't know that Cam did. She did. Woo, Cammy. Cammy. There's your Coastal 7-day forecast. Lisa Ann, I hope you have a great day too. Look at that. We do hit 90 at the beaches. Ah, dag nabbit. Oh, well. Sonia, I got you. We got it. Yep. Mike says, recommend the squared grouper in Summerland Key. Is it related to the squared grouper at the Jupiter Inlet? Matt says, sorry on Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk graphics must match the new way. Yeah, yep. That's right. Hoping for a cold front soon, Jessica says. It's not on the 7-day. Eventually we'll get there. Listen, we're eventually going to get there. Fall begins, right? Fall begins Monday, tomorrow. And as Matt said, I've been using it like crazy. And no, you do not get royalties. If I don't get royalties from the Coffee Talk term, you don't get royalties from a statement about fall. But I've been using the snot out of it. Fall is a process. I know when somebody says something meaningful in the world of weather. That Matt was meaningful. That I've never picked up on it, but here we are. October 16th, cold front. I have faith in the process. Right, right. And the BSR. Yeah. So fall is a process, little by little. Yeah. Jeannie Rowan says, I'm not going to complain. You saw the BSR was 25th through 21st. Cold front you saw was 25th through the 27th. Yeah. Let's just hope it plays out. I hope it does. How do you do graphics while you are walking through the building? Julie's asking. Wi-Fi. And I have a laptop. Like I mean, I'm sitting in my car. I'm sitting at a row of superchargers right now, just supercharging all by my lonesome. But yeah, that's how I'm doing. That's how I'm doing coffee talk in the car or walking around the building at Wesh. Yeah, that's how. Frankie, good morning, buddy. Sorry we're early. Sorry. Brian's asking, going to Punta Cana, October 3rd. Any storms around then? You know, we did the tropics earlier, but there's some indications that there may be something getting going in that time frame. So maybe something to watch. Yeah. All right. Frank, wireless. Wow. You know what's funny though? Like in today's generation, you say wireless and like it's no big deal. Man, when I started in TV, back in my day, like in 2001, that was when I started in TV. The stuff that I do for Coffee Talk would never be possible. Like I'm sitting in a car on a laptop that is unplugged from anything. It's just sitting in my lap. And you know what's crazy too, if I may? I used to run a MacBook Pro and I just traded in for the MacBook Air because the MacBook Air can do everything I need it to do for Coffee Talk. But it's lighter and it's more energy efficient and all that. So like this is a very light computer. Now, granted, at the moment, I'm running Coffee Talk out of Wesh. So all my MacBook Air is processing as a remote access client and feeding my webcam to the Wesh computer. The Wesh computer is doing all the heavy lifting. But anytime that I'm not sitting in my car, I'm running Coffee Talk or Tracking the Tropics on the MacBook Air, and it does just fine. So I know it sounds silly to be like, oh, it's wireless. That was unheard of. And I'm using a program to make Coffee Talk that is free. Like when I'm not saying it's the aliens, but it's the aliens. Jeannie Rowan says we should have flying cars at this point. Yeah, well, I mean, I have a Starlink dish. I could put that in the airplane and maybe I could figure out how to do Coffee Talk from the airplane one day. And then I could do a flying Coffee Talk one day. Who knows how that would work, but I could try it one day. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Frankie says I had a Commodore 64 with a cassette drive. Is that the one that I ended up inheriting? Was it your old Commodore 64? Because I remember being a kid just tinkering with the Commodore 64. That thing just annoyed the snot out of me though. Because by the time I got it, I had already started using Apple IIs and early Macs. But anyway, I digress. Major C202. Does anyone have an idea of what Burris is talking about? That's what I figured. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Anything at all? I'm done. Ah, yes, you get okay. I don't remember, but anyway. You need an assistant. I volunteer for Mooney Coffee Talk. All right. Matt, TI 94. I've got my TI. What was that graphing calculator I used to have? Anyway. All right. Enough. We've been here for a while. Was Miss Howard our TV production teacher? Miss Howard and then Hutto. We had Howard and Hutto. And whatever happened to Howard? Like, I know Hutto retired. I remember she went into the Carolinas, but whatever happened to Howard? Anyway, I digress. All right. Are we done on a Sunday? Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you all for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I'll figure something out tomorrow. It's going to be brief. It's going to be something quick. Just because, like I said, I mean, I'm going to be flying to Key West and back. It's going to be, I'm going to be focused on that. And it's a good day because there's no tropical threats. So let's just enjoy it for what it is. All right. All right, listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Make it a great Sunday, my friends. It's going to be beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We'll see you tomorrow. one way, shape, or form or another.